In this video I want to show you a couple of sketchbooks that I have here that are my own. And the theme of these sketchbooks is the cheap and the cheerful. So these are actually notebooks rather than sketchbooks with plain paper. They are both pocket-sized little sketchbooks and they have cheap and cheerful paper. These are inexpensive and these sorts of sketchbooks can be purchased from any sort of stationery shop or cheap art supplies shop, but they're not going to break the bank. So this particular sketchbook is one where I've started to do just simple pen drawings. So this is my smallest type of sketchbook. It's very thin and it's one that will come about with me where I can just do drawing in pen. So this is purely fine liner pen. These will either be my Unipin pens or my Micron pens in different thicknesses. Because the paper is thin, you can see the images bleeding through, but I'm not offended by this, I don't mind. But because of this, I do just draw on one single page rather than drawing on both sides of the paper. So if I did want to scan this in to use for anything, it's not going to be affected by the image on the back. So this is basically a sketchbook that I have assigned for pen and ink drawing. It's not a sketchbook that is complete, and you may realise as we go through these videos on sketchbooks that not all of my sketchbooks are complete. I have a lot of them and many of them aren't finished. Okay, so that's the pages of this one. The second one I want to show you is sort of very well used, and again this is a sketchbook that is very cheap in paper quality, and so I only sketch on the one side. I'm just going to flick through the pages of the sketchbook one by one. So this one I was using for the purposes of exploring brush pens. These were the pens that have the brush tip on one end and a fine nib on the other end, and I've been using both elements of the pen. So I'm exploring the fat and the thin, the quality of line and mark making. So each page here would not have taken me a long time to do, but this was fun. This was me exploring, looking at lines, marks, shapes, quality of line. So this topic, this theme for myself was simply line quality, colour, and understanding brush pens. And these continue. So there's lots of pages here of my sketches, my doodles. The sketchbook is very well used, well handled. I've missed pages. These pages are fascinating. These are pages where my daughter, who was two at the time of this, has done some little watercolour sketches, and then I've used an ink pen to create drawings out of the watercolour marks that she made. So some of these are very rough explorations. This is a little bit of watercolour. These are again marks that my daughter made with watercolour paints that I have gone over with ink pen. So the thing I want to show you with an inexpensive sketchbook is that nothing is precious and none of these are finished pieces of work. These are just experiments and doodles, and this is a mixture of me doing marks with watercolour and my daughter doing marks with watercolour, and then me sort of turning them into things and doodling and exploring with shapes and patterns. And the great thing about a really cheap sketchbook is you're really not precious about it. This might be something that is particular to me, but I don't think it is. Sometimes the thing with a sketchbook that is expensive, that is very precious, that has beautiful paper, there's that kind of thing, that feeling that you don't want to ruin it. Whereas with a cheap sketchbook, such as this one, it doesn't matter. I can doodle on a page, I don't tear things out, I just leave it all there, and it doesn't matter. And this sketchbook is huge, it's very thick, it has lots of pages. Again, it's not finished, it's an unfinished sketchbook, but it has lots of pen watercolour drawings. I have themes that return again and again, and that is something really important to building up a daily sketching habit, is to be sketching often similar things several times. So you've seen a lot of fish in here, a lot of flowers, Cactus has been up a couple of times, and mark making. So those are the sorts of themes that are in this sketchbook. And a random strawberry. So again, just playing, I think that's a silver marker pen there. This again is me drawing a little sticker for my daughter. More pen drawing. And I'm just going to keep flicking. This is me showing my daughter letters. So this isn't precious. This isn't one of my special sketchbooks that nobody else is allowed to touch. This is a sketchbook of play, experiment, daily mucking about. And I think that is quite an important thing in terms of a daily sketching practice, is not being afraid to draw a random Tyrannosaurus Rex and a Brachiosaurus, to keep it fun, to draw different things, to make notes, to pattern, to scribble. So this is a proper mixed up sketchbook with pages missing, with random angry potatoes, me drawing around my daughter's hand, and then various sort of patterns and things as well. I think we're coming to the end of the pages that are drawn in. A few more pages. So these were mark making with sort of animal print themes in mind. So I was looking at creating lovely sort of shapes and patterns and things in here, and this was to be, these have been scanned in actually and used for different things. Okay, so this one's quite an interesting sketchbook. The takeaway that I want you to take from this video in particular is that cheap paper, cheap pens, mucking about, not being precious is quite important to a daily practice. Because if all you're going to do for the day is something like this, it's going to take you a couple of minutes and you've done something. You do not have to do a beautiful finished piece of work every single day to have a daily sketching practice. If a smudgy line of paint is your day, if if a star-shaped stamp is your day, if writing hello and a few letters is your day, then that's absolutely fantastic. And I think we've come to the end of that sketchbook, to be continued, as you can see. Okay, so that is my couple of cheap, inexpensive sketchbooks that I wanted to show to you here.